Hi, my name is Dan, and this is Engelgeist. Welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new, welcome. Please stick around and watch this video if you'd like. And for those of you that are returning viewers, welcome back. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is the 2020 yearly predictive for the last sign of the zodiac, my patient, wonderful Pisces, which I happen to be one of you guys. So I always look forward to doing this one last. I did take a little break between Aquarius and Pisces for a few hours to sort of clear my space and get ready to do this 2020 predictive for the year. I'm going to give you guys the speech that I've given everybody. So here we go. It's a lot of details as I shuffle the cards. The deck that I'm using is a mini deck called the Harmonious Tarot. And the reason why I chose to use it is not only because it's a mini deck and it will fit nicely all 12 months in this wooden block. My intuition told me that the fact that it's called the Harmonious Tarot actually sort of coincides nicely with the fact that we are moving into 2020, which is an angel number. It is, when you boil it down numerologically, it becomes a number 4, which is a sign of stability. Stability also often being a harbinger of harmony. And I feel like as I've sort of, we're also starting a new decade. So as I've done some of these readings for the other signs, I'm really seeing that there's definitely like a shift or a sea change that's happening for everybody in different ways and all the different signs. So this is for my beautiful Pisces, and Lord knows, the sensitive souls that we are, we deserve it. So please take this as you will. I'm also telling everybody, take what you like and leave the rest. If something doesn't resonate or doesn't feel like it fits you, that's completely fine. It might be for another person. This is just sort of a broad spectrum reading for an entire year for quite a large group of people. We're talking, people with sun, moon, or rising in Pisces. Those should be the people that would be interested in watching this. So as I'm shuffling these cards, I'm asking Spirit to, open up the message for that group of people. This is also considered to be, every reading that I do, I ask Spirit to make sure that it's timeless, or the intention is that it's good for those that watch now, with me live, or at any point in time in the future. For those of you that are watching live, I can't see any comments that might be being made over on Facebook. I know that you guys are able to comment over there, but I have my chat box down, and for those of you that are watching live on YouTube, comments can't be allowed until I reach 1,000 subscribers. I am an extremely new channel. I've only been at this about a year. This is my first yearly predictive tarotscope. I've been reading cards for many years, but I've only been on YouTube for a year. This is my first yearly predictive tarotscope online for a large group of people. So any way you want to support the channel, these are the ways. I'm going to explain it to you. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, send your friends to my channel, or send them this, video. Send them a link to this video if you feel as though they can utilize it or it will benefit them in any way. I would greatly appreciate it. Watch my other videos. Hit the like button on any of them. Those help improve the algorithm. If you truly like them, if they are entertaining, if you are enjoying them, please feel free to hit the like button. That helps YouTube see that I'm creating content that people want to see, and it helps to better my algorithm. What else? You can follow me on Instagram at Engelgeist333. I don't post a lot over there, maybe once or twice a week, but I am over there and I'm new to Instagram, so if you want to follow me over there, that would be a huge help. And if you do hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or on the Facebook business page, hit follow or hit the bell on YouTube so that you're notified when I do go live. I do a morning forecast every day, and there's a great community of people that watch every morning that you would probably fall into meeting and might get along with. So there's that, and that's available to you. What else? I'm also available for private readings once this video is loaded up onto YouTube. It will be in the description box how you can contact me at the Facebook business page. Any questions that you might see that might arise from this forecast here for the year, if you want something more specific to you and your situation, you can certainly feel free to contact me at the business page and schedule a reading where I can do something similar to either this sort of a thing for you for your personal year, or I can do other styles of readings on specific subjects. I think that's sort of it. I am going to draw 12 cards, one for each month, and then we are going to draw 3 cards, one for health, one for love, and one for finance. And then 2 other cards from 2 separate decks that I will shuffle later. And I'll explain those when we get to them. But I think we're ready to get started. Thank you for listening to all the housekeeping stuff. And here we go. I hope you're ready, Pisces. Here's to 2020. Okay, so our first card is for the month of January. So this is the Knave of Pentacles. So this is similar to like the Page of Pentacles in a traditional tarot, or when I look at this is in our complementary sign of Earth, first off. So I kind of like that. It's like sort of us as water signs, maybe looking at the idea of creation in the material world, looking at the opposite sort of element that is our complement, and sometimes our where we need sort of, I think, sometimes our most learning. And this being a knave speaks to the idea of optimism and learning. When I look at this, I see the first thing that pulls my attention is the shield that's down here on the ground that he's sort of set down. It makes me feel like maybe we've been through a bit of a year prior. 2019 might have been a bit of a slog, a bit of a fight. And I feel like January is sort of a time for us to relax, to start to think about what we do want, what we want to bring into 2020. As I look at him sort of staring at this pentacle, this is sort of us contemplating. To me, in my mind, as I'm looking at this card, this is sort of us contemplating, okay, so what is it that we do want and how do we want to go about creating it? There is a sort of excitement and an optimism in this card, that a youthfulness, a reinvigoration, an energy in this card that says to me that we really are aware come January that, you know, what we set our mind to, we can sort of have, or we can sort of create, but we have to keep our focus, and we have to keep our sort of like receptivity going, right? And I feel like Pisces as a water sign is very receptive. We're receptive to energies, we're receptive to emotions, we're receptive to a lot of different things. Sometimes we pick up too much, and that's why people tend to think we're a little bit overly emotional or maybe even crazy at times. But I think that we are like little tuning forks. And so when I'm looking at this Knave of Pentacles, to me, this is about us sort of remaining open to what the universe has to offer, or what our environment could potentially produce for us if we put our mind to it and we're willing to learn, right? There's a little bit of a teachability here in this card, that if we go into the month of January open and ready to learn with our shields down, you know, we've maybe had to fight or struggle a little bit in 2019. This says to me that it's like a new era, a new dawn. It's time to drop our shields and start getting about like creating what's going to bring us happiness in the material realm, in the realm that's sort of opposite our natural element. So I feel like we could be, I don't necessarily think there's an element that's bad per se, but I do feel like if we were, the only thing that would be better than an earth element card, in my opinion, would be starting off the year in a water sign or with a cups card. But we don't have that. We have the earth, the pentacles card. So to me, it is still complementary. It's about us learning another facet or aspect of ourselves and the way that we create from a place of optimism and teachability that is going to sort of set the tone for the year. And I think that it's going to be a year about maybe, I haven't seen all 12 cards, but I have a feeling from this card, and the reason this card is here is it's telling me that this really will be a transformative year for us if we're open to it and we remain sort of optimistic and positive about the things that we have to face during this year. That's what I'm hearing or feeling like I need to say as I'm looking at this card. So the next card is for February. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. This is the first time that this card's come up out of all of the signs. So, this is the World, and this is a major arcana card. And February is the beginning of Pisces season, the second part of February, right? The tail end of February. But what we have here is we have, I believe we have the Bull, which is Earth. We have the Lion, which I believe represents fire. We have the Eagle, which represents air, and I don't know who this guy is. Normally, this is the representation of water. And so we have this like beautiful balance here. We have, this is the final card in the, I think it's the final card in the major arcana, but this is about sort of everything coming to us, being able to sort of create and have that balance, but have that balance in a very, very big way. So it's funny to me because this feels like a very huge jump, and the world is, to me, when I look at this, I mean, this excites me when I'm looking at this as a Pisces, because it feels like here in January, we're kind of contemplating maybe looking back at the year that we've had. We're sort of like, wow, I can't believe I've made it through it. I'm doing good. I feel all right. I'm at this sort of naive state where I'm not, totally beat down. I'm not totally wrecked. I can let my shield down and sort of like reflect back on the year and now start to look at what I want to create. And then this in February feels like, wow, the universe is like, okay, bitches, let's get it on. What do you want? Because we're here to give it to you all. The world is like sort of the options are there. It's all ready to work with you. It's sort of like the universe knocking at your doorstep and saying like, hey, let's do this. When I look at this card, it's like got this beautiful sort of woman dancing in the center, and it's there's all of this beautiful wildflowers and all of I mean, she's like feeling herself, right? So to me, February, maybe it's because it's the kickoff of Pisces season, but this will be a significant month for us in our creation. It's like here we start to ponder, here we start to go into action. And that action that we take here, depending on where our mindset is at, I think we want to be similar to this woman where she's sort of feeling free and easy and enjoying the magnitude with which the universe is meeting us. Does that make sense? Right? Like we want to embrace this wholeheartedly. Grab the bull by the horns, so to speak. Use the strength of the lion. Use the keen astuteness of the hawk. I'm not sure who this dude is supposed to be. I don't know if this is supposed to be like. What is he like? I know he's supposed to be the representation of water, but I'm not exactly sure what this means in this card. But I'm just saying, use all of our faculties and attributes about us. They're going to be present and very keen, or our senses will be heightened, our awareness will be heightened, our strengths will be heightened in February, and utilize those and relish those and really revel in that. Those gifts, because we're utilizing them to really create a major shift. Now, the next card is March, and it is also major arcana. This is the Hermit. I like this because it feels like here we're out in the world and we're creating and we're sort of doing, you know, sort of setting forth the intention of the creation with a positivity, a balance, and a strength or an awareness, and then we're retreating. Typical like Pisces sort of on off. 1 minute we're good, the next minute we're bad. Not bad, but like we need our time. We can be total social butterflies, and then we can pull back and need our sort of alone downtime. This is us taking that alone time. This is us going deep and getting that spiritual awareness that we're so known for. This is time in the month of March to sort of go inward, and when I look at him, I feel like he is sort of like having a conversation with the moon. He's reflecting, he's in prayer, he's speaking to his higher power or his higher source. His own intuition could be this moon, or like his spirit guides, whatever that is for you, however it is that you communicate, however it is that you connect. March is the month to do that. And I think that it's going to be that month because there's going to be a lot of change happening in February at a material level. Like the world just sort of shows up and kind of sweeps us up in it. There's going to be opportunities to be had in February that we might need to take a breath in March, right? We might need to go back and reflect and sort of, to me, I'm looking at this card and I'm feeling like it sort of feels, not that we're overwhelmed, but that we need to sort of almost pull back, withdraw, and take that time to get clear and get centered within ourselves, because I feel like there might be more, we want to sort of, how do I want to say, like ground this energy, keep this energy flowing through us. In an effort to do that, we need to stay sort of spiritually, emotionally, connected to ourselves, right? And that's what this Hermit card is about. It's about being aware of our own light and what we're capable of and what we deserve, and really knowing that at a deep level. So that reflection, meditation, internal dialogue, those things need to be paid attention to in the month of March, and connecting with, be it our spirit guides, our guardian angels, whatever it is that we work with, that would be an ideal time to do so. The next card is uh, April. And this is, what is going on here? This is the Nine of Cups. I haven't seen this card yet either. He's got a fatted goose. He's got this giant goose, this chef, and there's these women carrying cakes. To me, this feels like a big party. Like we're getting ready to, there's like a serious amount of abundance happening here in April. There's an overflow of abundance. When I'm looking at this chef sort of leading this goose away with the spoon, it kind of feels like we are about to, whatever we've asked the world for, or we've started creating here, whatever we started like sort of contemplating here. And I think, to be honest, we've been contemplating it back in 2019 too, guys. It starts to really come in February, and then in March we need to kind of temper things down a little bit and reconnect to ourselves, because there's sort of more en route to us. This is our first water sign. Okay. Sorry, I'm going a little fast because I'm kind of excited because I'm at Pisces. All right, so what we've got going on here is we've got Earth, the element of Earth here. We've got the element of water buffered in between by these two major arcana cards. And these two major arcana cards are like really beautiful cards in the sense that they sort of, to me, speak to the sort of extroverted side of Pisces and then the introverted side of Pisces. Do you see what I'm saying? And sort of this would also be internal versus external, right? The earth or the material plane versus the emotional plane. And both, to me, have a certain amount of abundance and learning. This isn't quite necessarily a 10, which would be a completion or the full out, but this is like the preparation of that, right? They're preparing for the party. They're preparing for, to me, this feels like April is the month to stay really positive, stay focused emotionally on our emotions, and prepare for what's coming. That's sort of like this goose, this fatted goose that they're bringing, and these cakes that they're bringing. It's sort of like, to me, they're it's like we know that the benefit is coming in. Maybe if it's not in 2020, it's coming in during this decade, but we can like feel it intrinsically, like in our emotions. And if we clock our emotions or pay attention to our emotions and keep them high, keep them vibrant, keep them feeling light and positive, um, uh, we're ready to sort of show up and reap the rewards of that. And this, I have to say here, this quiet time that happens in this second half of Pisces, in early part of March and throughout all of March, is key to that, so that we are able to sort of bounce back and get into this space of being ready to be social again and be in the thick of things and really enjoying the abundance that I see in this Cups card. This Cups card is our natural element, so it's going to feel beneficial and pleasant to us, but we want to make sure that we're what's the word, like we're connected to ourselves in a way that we're ready to receive these gifts and really honor what we're getting, right? And that's from this Hermit card. Now the next card is the Knight of Swords. So this is for May, and I like this card. I feel like um, knights to me are always about nobility and honor and protection, right? And so when I look at him, he's charging off into the rest of the year. Like we're at the month of May here, the 5th month of the year. We've had sort of what I feel like is, yes, we've learned a few things in January, and then some gifts have been given to us in February. We go and we withdraw and sort of give ourselves a gift of a deeper connection within ourselves and our awareness of ourselves, and we might pull back a little bit, but we need to pull back because it feels like we're about to receive and prepare for an even bigger gift that's coming, right? Or an even bigger change, an even bigger emotional sort of abundance that's en route. That's the signifier of this Nine of Cups. This Knight of Swords says to me that this is about sort of lining up our thoughts with our emotions that we're expressing or trying to stay involved in the month of April, right? This is about charging forward into the rest of the year, really with a direction, a purpose, with our good sort of thoughts at the forefront, this is the element of air and the intellect, so this makes me think that it's very key what we focus on and what we choose to look at. We want to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the right reasons. That's why this is a Knight here. This makes me feel like be conscious of, in the month of May, what we're focusing on, how we're focusing on it, how we're thinking about it. Approach things from a place of sort of noble empowerment versus like, I'm a victim of my circumstances. There's no victim here that I see. And I'm not saying that Pisces are victims, but sometimes uh, we can get sort of emotionally wrapped up in a way where we feel like the environment is overwhelming us, and I don't feel like that's the case. To me, with this World card here, even the openness of this Knave of Pentacles, it feels like the environment wants to really meet us and give us more than maybe we feel as though we deserve, hence this Hermit card. So we take this time to figure out that we do deserve it. We get ready emotionally for the preparation of the gifts that are about to come, and then in May we really start to mentally understand that we deserve these things, and we start to charge forward and go after them and do what we need to do, think the way that we need to think, and produce the sort of results, like sort of not settle for anything less than the results that we want. Now the next card is the Five of Cups, and this is for June. This is our mid-year card. Now, this card is not the best card. It is a Cups card, which to me is a water element, so that's a good thing. That's sort of our element, but this is something that we deal with, right? Is this mood swingy up and down energy that we can have as a water sign. And so to me, this feels like a woman who has Five Cups, right? This is the story with this card, and she's more concentrated on what's spilled versus what she has. She's sort of, there's this, the clarity with which the thought I see here, and the enjoyment with which I see here, the excitement that is here in the Nine of Cups, we sort of lose sight of that come June, and we start to possibly, there's potential, I'm not saying, like I did say earlier, the caveat is that as we get further out into the year, some of these cards may be, there's room for changing them, right, with our own choice and free will. So for me, this card is about us maybe focusing on the negative versus the positive, or what we do have. And we're not necessarily seeing the bigger picture. And there's so much more being given to us. And I almost feel like we want to get back to being aware of what is, what we have, and being grateful for that, versus focusing on what maybe has fallen off or that we've lost in the month of May. Okay, or no, sorry, June. Okay, there might be a setback in June of some sort that emotionally takes its toll on us, but don't worry, this is solely, like, it's not as big of a thing as we think, or that we have the potential to make out. Maybe this the directness or the authority, the excitement that's behind the energy that we experience here in April, there might be something that slows that down. I'm sorry, this is not April, this is May. There might be something that slows that down come June, but that's okay. What I'm hearing is this is temporary, and this is also sort of a test, like what are we going to choose to like look at? What are we going to choose? Are we going to look at the fact that we still have things to be grateful for, or are we going to look at what's already gone, right? This is kind of like don't cry over spilt milk is sort of how I'm feeling here. So if June feels a little bit dicey or feels like not our best month, that's okay. Stay focused on the positive would be the key there. The next card, and this card has shown up in quite a few different reads, is this is July, and this is the Three of Swords. To me, this feels like a continuation of that Five of Cups, in the sense that emotionally, if in June we're feeling like we're set back, we might feel emotional, we might feel like a little bit annoyed, bothered. Things may not necessarily feel like they're going our way in June. Come July, the Three of Swords, and I'm going to say this because I've said this in the other readings, when I look at this card in relation to the yearly forecasts that I've been doing, is I really feel that this card is about us doing the work to remove the pains of the past that we're carrying with us. And part of the reason why I say that is because every time I look at this card, I see that heart and I hear this message of, and this hasn't come up for every sign, but the signs that this has shown up for, I hear this message of yes, things have hurt us in the past. Yes, we have these ideas or beliefs from past experiences that maybe we've carried with us for a while, but it's up to us to sort of remove them from our heart now as adults, right? If we continue to choose to carry them or continue to live our life by the experiences of our past, we sort of take responsibility for these swords, and we sort of they become ours. Like we're just as guilty as of harming ourselves at this point as the situations of the past were when they actually hurt us. Does that make sense? So what I feel like this is like a healing of the of old wounds that we carry that are like the sort of last bastions of limitations that we carry within our heart as we go into this new decade. We do have, and I've said this too with this card, there's this angel here. And this is our either our own soul, our spirit guides, our guardian angels. He's here to help us, and he's here to bring us through this time. If we use this time in July to sort of heal the old wounds of our heart, heal the old ideas or the old thought patterns that no longer serve us, and we're getting a good taste of that emotionally here in June by losing sight of sort of this forward momentum that we have that I see going on in these other cards up until this June point where I feel like, you know, something maybe pops out or a mistake might happen or something goes off plan, whatever it is, like let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. But this is actually like a learning lesson. This is showing us where we need to focus on or what we need to change. And come July, we're really actually facilitating that change and having that healing. And that healing is being guided by our own spirit or the spirit of, you know, our guides, whatever we feel most comfortable with. Keep that in mind come July. If there's opportunities where you see self-limiting beliefs or we're behaving in present time situations as if they're going to treat us like past time situations, right? We need to sort of look at that and remove those thoughts from our head. We need to remove those thoughts from our heart. We need to trust more and be more like present in what's going on now and let go of some of the past, okay? Like the heartache of the past. The next card, okay, is for August. Now, I love this because it's the Wheel of Fortune. So we go through this sort of a little bit of a tumultuous situation here in in June and July, and it's not bad, guys. It's just sort of like it's ourselves, our psyches, our egos, whatever, showing us where there's work left to be done as we go through 2020 and where there's healing left to be had as we move in through 2020 and we finish it out. The Wheel of Fortune, I love this because we have this angel here and then we have this Cupid here. He's leading us over here, right, to this Wheel of Fortune. He's like pointing to the Wheel of Fortune and saying, come with me, come on, do this work and we can have whatever it is we want. And it's like the world has brought it to us. And sometimes we as Pisces, I don't know if it's because we're not honored or validated always by our outside environment, but it's like this hermit where we have to take this time to go back and make sure that we deserve it. Doing this work here in June and July lets us know that we do deserve it. And that brings us to the Wheel of Fortune, which allows us in spirit to come together, our spirit guides, our guardian angels, our own spirit, our own soul, to sort of decide what we want to put in the wheel, what we want to sort of manifest and have come to us. And the wheel doesn't necessarily move quickly, right? But it is all about getting what we focus on, right? What we choose to put in the wheel. If we're going to continue to carry these swords and these old limiting beliefs with us, we're going to probably get more experiences that perpetuate these old limiting beliefs. If we choose to focus on the spilled cups, we're going to get more of that. But if we choose to focus on what we have from a place of abundance and we choose to live from our heart from a place of sort of fearlessness and present time versus, you know, our situations from the past are our experiences, and yes, they educate us, but they are not the totality of who we are. And that every experience that we have, we get to sort of adopt the learning and the knowledge from and the experience of, and then move on to the next experience and treat it as if it were something new, right? And I think that we are capable, especially with this Knight of Swords card and with this Hermit card, we are certainly capable of not having to worry about whether or not we're going to make the same mistake twice. Okay, even if we've done that in the past, I feel like these cards here say to me that there's a clarity that we're getting out of these experiences this year that's going to bring about a sort of an opportunity for us to start really creating the things that we really want, and understanding the magnitude and the power of that. So the next card is for September. September is the Seven of Cups. So when I look at this card, this feels a little bit romantic, but I don't necessarily associate the Seven of Cups with full-on romance. But when I'm looking at these two, they kind of look like they're having a bit of a moment. I don't know if I've got any single Pisces out there, but you guys that might be looking for relationships, to me, this card is giving me a little bit of relationship vibe. And the reason why it's doing that, I think, is because of this card here, the healing of the heart, then the Wheel of Fortune, and we have Cupid, this angel happening here. I'm not so sure that there's maybe, if some of us don't put in some sort of idea of a relationship, or we're not desirous of a relationship, that we might get it come the it's August, it comes September. And I only say that because these two look very bonded and very romantic. It's funny to me. It's just, is this what this is supposed to be? This could be, okay, so what I'm hearing, like the way that I'm interpreting this, or the way that I'm sort of hearing this, is that this is not necessarily the Lover's card, right? Or something super romantic, but this is the possibility of the beginning of a romance. It's like the first meetings. This could also represent as like sort of the bonding of friendships at an emotional level, but I get definite romance from this card. It's the fact that it's a male and a masculine and a feminine energy. I get the fact that it's sort of, there's this mirror here that he's holding. To me, this feels, and I hate to say this, guys, I don't like twin flamey stuff, but this feels like this mirror is giving me full on, like I'm hearing twin flame soulmate kind of energy. Like he's mirroring to her exactly what she needs to see in herself to understand and appreciate herself, and vice versa. We don't see her mirror, but I feel like that's the connection that's happening here between these two. I don't feel like it's a full on like instant like, oh my god, we're in love, let's get married, because that would show up to me as like sort of the Lover's card or something else. It would be more significant. This being the Seven of Cups feels like it's more of a subtle entrance into our life. And I think that that's okay, because we've had this big experience in February with the world showing up. And we're also having this sort of big experience with the Wheel of Fortune. So I think that it's nice that this comes in sort of softly and almost maybe sneaks in. For those of you that maybe already are in an existing relationship, this could be the deepening of that relationship or the solidifying of that relationship so that it becomes all the more real. The other reason why I feel like this is romantic too is it looks like these cups have something in them, where these cups just have like sort of liquid in them. These cups look like they have like food in them. Let me look at this, because I'm not seeing, this card has not come up yet in this, in any of the reads. See how it's got all those different like food items and stuff? Again, we've got this like huge abundance sort of happening. And the Seven of Cups, I don't necessarily know that this is an abundance card, but I would associate that more with the 9 and the 10. But to me, this feels like nourishing, and it feels connected. Like I feel like there is a romance happening here, or the beginnings of a romance. It might be the very beginning steps for you guys that are seeking romance to actually start to connect to that. And I feel like I can't get off of this, but this mirror is screaming at me that this is the real deal. So if we find ourselves, and I have to say this too, you guys, this is because we've done the heart work in July. This is because we've got the Wheel of Fortune telling us, okay, what is it that you want? Cupid's sitting right here saying, okay, tell me what you want. And she's going, all right, I want him to have a job. I want him to be emotionally stable. I want him to love me for me. And boom, like there he is. And he's like mirroring back all the things she requested and also showing her all the wonderful things about herself. Does that make sense? That's what I'm seeing, guys. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm kooky. For those of you that are already in a relationship, maybe you're married, this is the deepening of that relationship or the improvement of that relationship. I feel like this is a very beneficial card for any type of relationship that you're in or that you're working on. So if that's something, it definitely has a romance vibe though. So I feel like this is more for people that are romantically involved. But it could be applied, I guess, to sort of friendships and things of that nature. Either way, even with the food in those cups, I feel like that the month of September will be abundant and sort of fruitful and good. Now, the next card, okay. The next card, which is October. This is that slow burn. Okay, I see it. I get it. Thank you, Spirit. All right, so this is that slow burn that's happening, right? And like we put it into the Wheel of Fortune. We did the heart work. We put it into the Wheel of Fortune, like our dreams, our desires, and maybe some of us are a little bit even scared of being in that relationship. But this could be the actual coming on of that relationship. It may come on slow because some of us may be fearful or of being vulnerable again or whatever it is that our issues are, right? But as it comes on, we then get followed by the Fool, which is always the beginning of a journey. And the Fool to me, like when I look at this card, they are spinning in like this like glory, right? And the Fool is always about sort of the beginnings of journeys, but also that naivete that we don't have any fear to sort of hold us up or stop us, right? And so at this point, come October, I feel like we are feeling and this Fool to me is a female, which you don't necessarily always see the Fool as a female card. What is that blue light? Why is that blue light showing up? That's so strange to me. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm trying to hold that up. There you go. She seems like she's spinning around, and yes, she's spinning close to a cliff, but she's really enjoying herself. And I have to say, this moon is representing our intuition, which us as Pisces, we are highly intuitive. We can trust our intuition and our emotional senses. I think that at times there's been in the past, we've maybe not been able to trust it, but after having done some of this work through this June and July, we are able to really relish that and a new journey begins. That new journey could be with this significant other. I sort of feel like she's feeling that joy. But what I want to say here about this is there's also this aspect to this card that reminds me of the Hermit, where she is dancing alone. And what I mean by that is like we're fully trusting ourselves. We're fully in tune with our intuition. We're ready to start this new journey with an excitement and with an enthusiasm that, to me, some people might think is foolish or might think is reckless, but I get a feeling that it's exciting to us. It's actually, we are more equipped to deal with this than people understand. I'm going to say this too, we as Pisces have been more equipped for situations our entire lives, and we've been told we're not. Because people don't understand how we think and how we feel and how connected we actually are. And so sometimes when we behave emotionally or we react emotionally or we respond in different ways, we're often misunderstood. And I think that that's okay. And that's sort of what this Fool card represents to me. Is sort of maybe others or our outside world doesn't necessarily get us, but we don't need them to get us come October. We've done the work back here in the Hermit card. We've had that solitary time that we need and that we require. We've done that work here. We've dealt with the idea of the power of our own manifestation and the ability, the awareness that really the universe does want to meet us and give us the gifts for being sort of the wonderful, like, heart-centered people that we are, right? Now, the next card is for November. This is the Six of Pentacles. So I like that this is sort of, she's having a little bit of a finery moment here. With this card and this deck, I don't know why, but this card always makes me think of like indulgence, and it's okay to indulge, but it just always, every time I see this card in particular, it makes me think of just be mindful of how much we indulge. So in the month of November, I want you guys to be careful, whatever it may be, with the spending of money, with the enjoyment of food, with the enjoyment of anything that we can sort of overdo. Be careful. I love that she's feeling herself. I think that we are feeling ourselves, and there is this also kind of piggybacks on this sort of the warning that I feel with this card is that there is this the fool aspect here is like being open and creative and dancing and starting the new journey. We move into the new journey. If we're being too extravagant or too indulgent, we want to be careful of that. We don't want to underestimate, and then, you know, I'm not saying that this is a mistake per se, but I feel like, again, we have somebody whispering in our ear that's telling us, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And I don't know that that person, I think that needs to be heeded in this card, right? I don't know that that person is not correct. Now, when this card came up in another spread for another sign, it felt like I wanted to tell them, don't trust this woman. But I feel like this woman is actually, if this is like sort of our intuition, if there's something where we're like maybe a little too high on life from this Fool energy, be careful and be mindful that we don't overindulge in the month of November. We want to make sure that we're not being short-sighted there, okay? Now, the last card is December, and this is the Queen of Swords. I love it. So, she's definitely moving into the future of 2021. She's definitely doing it from a place of authority, from awareness, from clarity. She's got her sword up, which to me says that she's willing to cut away any sort of bullshit that might come in her path. She's stronger for having been through this year. She is aware, or we will be aware of our strengths and our what we deserve. We will be holding ourselves with an air of authority. I think that she is sort of smarter than this Fool card that's happening here, right? But she hasn't lost anything, right? There is this opportunity here maybe where this is all of these pentacles might be the adornment and the growth into this Queen of Swords position. But I feel like she is setting herself up to be in a place of power and intelligence for 2021. So we are more in control of where we're going and how we're getting there. Heading into 2021. Does that make sense? So this feels to me, this is a very intellectual card. It actually feels, as I'm looking at it, because listen to me, I'm a Pisces, and I'm saying it feels, because we tend to want to feel, like with all of this Cups energy going on in here, like let me look at this. We have the Nine of Cups, the Five of Cups, and the Seven of Cups, right? And then we have the World, we have the Hermit, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and the Fool. I mean, there's some pretty heavy energy in here. And then the rest is sort of, what else do we have? It's either Pentacles or Swords, right? Yeah. So this is about, when I look at this as a whole, it's actually kind of a well-rounded reading. There's like no real element of fire going on, which is sort of lacking. The connection to spirit is sort of lacking, which is fine because I see the spirit aspect in the two angels that are here. But to me, this is about our relationship to ourselves, the honoring of that, the understanding. And I also see spirit in the world coming to us, right? And us connecting to spirit in the Hermit card. And I also see intuition in the Hermit card and in the Fool. But I am going to say this. This is about, like, what I look at is the overall arching sort of message that's going on for the Pisces for the year of 2020. Is this is about us sort of understanding ourselves emotionally, embracing that emotional aspects of ourselves, letting the universe sort of meet us and give us what we deserve, and kind of also showing us that we also get what we deserve by what we're choosing to focus on, either mentally or emotionally, through our thoughts and our feelings. And so there's an opportunity here during this year to clean that up, Get really clear on that and really own that. And when we walk out of this year with that Queen of Swords in place, we've got our thoughts in order. We've also got our, our emotions. We've been dealing with our emotions our whole life. So that's something to me that I feel like we already maybe have a grasp on. And so this intellect of the Queen of Swords really has us walking into 2021 like large and in charge, feeling centered, feeling grounded. Again, she has a shield there, but it's down on the ground. So it's not like we're in full protection mode or in any fear. We're actually in a place of authority and feeling honored and ready for the next year. Okay? So your significant months, being the major arcana cards, are the month of February and March, which is definitely Pisces season. I would say keep an eye out for, what is that, August for sure, and then October. Those are where your major arcanas play, and those are where the more of the energy, more of the lessons, more of the intensity is going to be, more of the opportunities. So keep your eyes peeled during those months for whatever's going on. Pay like extra attention to those things. What else stands out? I just sort of feel like, to me, this is about getting more well-rounded and more clear on what we want and what we focus on and where we place our attention, and really having that unlock by the time we get to that Queen of Swords. So this is for health, love, and finance for 2020. I am going to caveat this because I caveat all of them, all of the readings. For health and finance, I am not a financial advisor, nor am I a professional doctor. Do not take anything that you see in these cards as over a doctor's advice or a financial advisor's advice. If you feel as though you need to see a doctor or you are having health issues, please do so. And, if you have trouble with your finances, which that could be the case with the Six of Pentacles, go see a financial advisor or a professional. This is just an overview for a broad group of people. So like I said earlier, take what you want and leave the rest. So for your health card, we get the Three of Wands. Okay, beautiful. So I was kind of a little worried that there was no fire going on in this spread whatsoever. The fire is in our health section. And to me, this the Three of Wands, this feels very balanced to me. So these three wands sort of feel like they are even. Like to me, the bite that I'm getting on this card is that it doesn't feel like there's much going on for us in the health department, or the feeling that I'm getting for this card. I feel like this young boy is out in the field tending to this giant bull. There's a strength here in this card, so that's the bull in the background. And I feel like he's sort of looking to the future too. So those of us that are healthy, I feel like we're going to be all right this year. And this doesn't feel like a bad card to me per se. What I am going to say is that I feel like all of the work that's happening here in our thoughts and our emotions is leading to this sort of spiritual health in our health department. That is sort of and when I look at this being a 3, I think of mind, body, spirit. They're all kind of lining up and sort of, okay, we're tending to ourselves. That's this boy, like, sort of this shepherd boy taking care of this big, beautiful bull. So do take care of ourselves this year. If you are having any health issues going into 2020, be attentive to them, right? Like this boy would be in the fields watching this bull. But remember that as we do the work that we're going through this year, with this focus on like sort of these cups and swords cards, we are clearing up our thoughts, we're clearing up our emotions and our energies, and balancing out sort of our finances, or the earth plane stuff is also being worked out a little bit in some of these cards. So I think that's bringing into balance and alignment our health on some level, as long as we make sure to not forget about it, not negate it, not like ignore it, but just tend to it. Just, do your, how do I want to say this, like, make sure you go see your doctor for your regular checkups. Like, that's what I kind of get with this card. It doesn't feel sort of super significant, or that there's a mad warning that, oh my god, you need to go see a doctor or anything like that. The next card is for love. So interesting. This is the Eight of Cups. Or Eight of Pentacles, I'm sorry. Um, hmm. I feel like this says to me that we are receptive to love and that we're open to the possibility that some of us want it and we're willing to give ourselves over to love this year if it's made available and present to us. When I saw it here in this Seven of Cups, it sort of felt like it's going to come on slow. If it does come on, it might come on for some of you, only some of you during this month here. And that Fool card also indicated a little bit of us moving forward into maybe a new relationship, open-minded. This, to me, when I look at this Eight of Pentacles, this feels, Pentacles is the element of Earth and the material realm, which would deal with like relationships, things of that nature. And what I feel like is she's sort of leaning forward, offering this statue or whatever. It's sort of like us giving of ourselves, like we are open to it. Are we going to receive it? I really think that's sort of up to us. It's also, I think that what's really key is this June July period and this Three of Swords in this heart space leading into the Wheel of Fortune. It's sort of like, what are we going to put in our Wheel of Fortune? Are we gonna put in there that we want love, that we're desirous of love, that we believe that we deserve love? I feel like this card says to us that we might believe or be open to it more so than we have been in the past few years. But is it going to happen for us? I'm not sure. I think that there's a possibility of it. This is really weird. It's funny because everybody else's have had very, very clear sort of signs or symbols in these three cards, and to me this feels very like middle of the road. Both in the health and the love department. So let's look at finances and see what's going on with finances. Okay, finances is the King of Pentacles. Now this feels to me like some benefit is coming to us for sure. Like to me, even though I see us clearing up our thoughts and our emotions in the month of 2020, that's going to lead to some graces that go on financially here. And that's going to lead to some abundance and definitely a feeling of authority or achieving some goals financially that we want to throughout the year. But I think that the bigger focus or the bigger message here is about our thoughts and our emotions and getting those things in line with what it is that we want. Because with this World card and this Wheel of Fortune card, it feels like the universe is knocking, and we as Pisces have maybe been hiding, or not necessarily hiding, maybe we've been out working on something else or doing something else that we thought was important. And I feel like this is like these two cards here are calling cards saying like the environment is coming to meet us, the universe is coming to meet us. We want to be sure in this Hermit card that we're ready. And then once we're sure we're ready, we move into this Nine of Cups, and then I think that there might be something that comes up that we need to sort of continue to ready ourselves in the summer, in June and July. And then it kicks off from there. So I feel like finances are good. This King of Pentacles says to me that we will be in charge. We will be making money, so to speak, or generating enough money, or we'll be happy with our finances, content with our finances, generous during the year of 2020. So if we find ourselves with windfalls or the ability to take care of others, we may very well do so. I also see that in this love card, with this Eight of Pentacles. We're offering ourselves or open to giving ourselves over to the possibility of love. But to me, it's not like a super strong card, right? So we might, and I feel like with that Seven of Cups, where I feel like that's a romance that could potentially come in, it feels like it's coming in soft and subtle. The Fool feels like maybe there's a little reckless abandon there that we might go for it. But it really depends on whether or not we notice that in the Seven of Cups in September, right? So this Eight of Pentacles to me feels like, yeah, we're open to it, but it's really got to be right. Does that make sense? Like, it's really got to be, if it's not right in balance, like the Eight would be, you know, those Eight Pentacles sort of all stacked on one another and balanced and stable and all of that. If it's doesn't present that to us, then we're not, I don't know that we'll necessarily bite or take it on. Does that make sense? So I don't get the strongest, you know, like, boom, love is coming this year. I think that if anything, if we pay attention and we do the work in June and July, those of us that really do the work and want the love and are ready for it, we can bring it in, but we want to make sure that we're not bringing in something that's, you know, based in the past, a repeat or rehash of things that we've dealt with or that have caused us pain, similar personalities or things like that. Does that make sense? So the next cards that I'm shuffling, this is called the Divine Doors deck. It's another mini deck that I really enjoy that I hardly ever get to use. And these are pictures of doorways. So I ask as I'm shuffling the cards, what is Pisces, what doors are Pisces closing or opening or closing in 2020? So this just gives us a little insight into that. So let's see what's going on here. Interesting. Okay, so here's your doorway, guys. Wow, we are coming up from the gates of hell. No, I'm just kidding. We are coming up from the depths, though, I do feel like. This is, the door is open, and it's maybe been open, and I think maybe we've been hiding. We might go back down here in the month of March, in the latter part of March, where it's safe and warm and what we know. But there's this light up here, and there's this stairway, and I have not seen any stairways as of yet in any of the readings, and you guys are my last reading. So we are actually making an upward climb this year in 2020. There is this sort of, like I said, there's this readjustment of our emotions and our thoughts, and I think that we need to prepare ourselves, especially with this Wheel of Fortune and the World card here. It really says that we can have the things that we want. We have to believe in ourselves, though. That's the key here, and I think that that's all of this Swords energy that's happening in these cards. And then once we believe it, like mentally we believe it, we can begin to feel it. And that's all the Cups energy that I feel in these cards. And we have the opportunity to walk into 2020 really knowing who we are and what we've got going on. So this says to me, first off, old souls, right? We've kind of been through the belief is that, you know, if you're a Pisces, you've sort of probably incarnated through all the other soul signs at some point. And so, you know, we're down here in this old cavern, right, where we've maybe been for a while, and it's time to come up out into the light again. We have the door open, and it's time to do the climb up, and that's what this work is that's happening in 2020. Let's see what the back says. Heart healing. Oh, shit. So, that's that Three of Cups guy, or the Three of Swords. It says, mourning now has had its time. Do not pay it a single dime. Emerge from darkness, a new day starts. Let light embrace the healing heart. Okay, guys, so I don't think that has to be any more obvious. We're going to be hopefully appreciating ourselves in a whole new light by the end of this year. And we are going to be open to others appreciating us too. Not only do I see that here, but also in the Seven of Cups. And it's like we have to do this work there's work happening in March, and there's work happening there's a soul searching that's going to be significant in some point in March, and then there's some last minute mental work at the heart level that we need to sort of let go of, that's outdated. That when we do let go of that Wheel of Fortune comes in, and it just starts to open up the doors for us to experience opportunities that, like, we've been waiting for a while. And the reason why I say that is that picture of that doorway, we've been down there in the dark for a while, because I think that, like I said earlier, sometimes we've been misunderstood, or people don't understand how we operate or how we feel at the level that we do. They say, oh, you're just crazy, or oh, don't be emotional, oh, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that. I think if there was more of us doing what we do on this planet, we'd have less problems, right? So as we heal our hearts, we enable others to heal theirs. We show them our emotional intelligence, and they learn how to be more emotionally intelligent. Does that make sense, guys? I hope that makes sense. The last card that I'm doing is from the Whispering Woods deck. This is another mini deck. And this card represents sort of like the overall, like the concept that I was thinking when I chose this deck was that, you know, spirit is found in nature, and the spirit also whispers to us in many different ways, messages through nature. So I wanted to include this as sort of like this overarching theme for the year for the Pisces, right? So this card is sort of something to reflect upon or ground into throughout this year of 2020. This is what we need to know, or the theme for our year, right? So we're opening the door to heart healing this year, like true transformational heart healing. And this is sort of something that we might want to keep focus on throughout this year. And again, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and the bell. So yours is dance. Allow yourself some fun each day, just as the sun dances with the moon each night. We see that dancing reflected in this Fool card, certainly. We see that enjoyment also here in the Six of Pentacles, I believe. Also here again in the Nine of Cups. Where else did I see some joy? There's a lot of joy to be had throughout this year. The Seven of Cups also was joy. The Fool was joy. The Six of Pentacles. So I think that as I'm looking at this, like this dance is reminding us that, like, as we're doing this heart healing and stuff, remember to keep it light throughout the year. Remember to sort of, the work that you are doing is significant and is impactful in getting you to where you want to be and what it is you deserve. It feels to me like we need to catch up with the rest of the universe, and I mean that from the standpoint that I keep getting drawn back to this World card in February and this Wheel of Fortune in August. It feels to me like almost like Spirit or God is trying to give us gifts that we haven't felt that we deserve, and we've been hiding from the light. And it's time to step out into it. Like, come back to the surface and dance, Pisces. Come back to the surface and love again. We need that love on this planet now. We need it going into 2020. So I'm just going to leave you guys with that. I love you guys, and I appreciate your patience for waiting. You are the last sign, and we are the last sign of the zodiac, so we always have to wait. And I always get super excited when I get to you guys, just because I share this sign with you, and I love it so much. But I really think that we're in for an awesome year of transformation and change, and coming more into our own personal power. And in doing so, we might actually be enabling ourselves to allow other people to appreciate that power and see it as it truly is. Okay? So I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I will look forward to seeing you guys again, either at the daily forecast or at the January Taroscopes, because we will build on these each month with another Taroscope. Please also come back and check back in with me. Leave a comment. Let me know how your year turns out. You know, come back and rewatch this video and see how accurate it is. And don't forget to dance. You know, that's another thing I have to say about this dance thing. Pisces rules the feet. We're supposed to be amazing dancers. And for those of us that aren't too afraid to dance or get out there and dance, we're actually really good at it, and there's magic in it for us. That just occurred to me as I was looking at that dance card. We do rule the feet, so we are natural born sort of dancers. So that is sort of that, also like part of Pisces home in who we are. So if we're healing our heart, which is also very much a place where we reside, you know, the emotional center of the heart, and that card of dance says to me, it's like, it's almost like we're coming back to ourselves this year in 2020, and to embrace those parts of ourselves that maybe we had gotten lost over 2019. You know, maybe we've lost sight of them. Maybe just all the craziness in the world has made us disconnect from ourselves in some way, shape, or form because we don't feel safe here. And it's time to reconnect so that we can create that safe feeling. And let me tell you, with that Queen of Swords by the end of the year, and also that Knight of Swords that we see in May, we are able to create that security and that safety for ourselves, and then in turn for others. And I think that the Wheel of Fortune and the World card know that, and that's why they're trying to knock at our door. We just need to be very sure that we're ready to answer it. We're gonna have to. We're the babies of the universe. Not the babies of the universe, but like the universe is here calling on us. So get out there and dance. I love you guys. Have a great 2020. Have a wonderful holiday season, and I will see y'all soon. Bye bye.